Well, hello everybody and welcome to the first recording for game design. And you can see that this recording is going to cover week one. This is all about getting started in game design. And to start this off, the couple of things to remember is that, of course, we're in a block system, so you only have 9 weeks to do this work, so you cannot fall behind. You need to keep up with it. And as we look through the course, I'll scroll down the left over here, you can see that we have the home unit and the course overview unit. That's going to be week one, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 other units. So probably 3 of these units will just last for 1 week, and then a couple of others will be stretched over a couple of maybe 2 weeks. But you're going to have to really stay on top of things. Since most of you only have 3 classes, maybe 4 classes, you're going to need to put in the time to get the grade out of this that you want. Well, I'm just going to start off with the way my courses run. And if you look at, here we are in the announcements, and in the announcements the first thing I want to show you is the welcome to class and getting started announcement. So if we look at this, you can see, I'm kind of welcoming you and all of that. As I say, I expect everybody to get an A. I mean, I don't look at my list of students and say, well, this student won't get an A. I think everybody can get an A. And the great thing about it is that right now you have not proven that you can't get an A, so that means that you can get an A, right? So it means that you can get an A, or at the worst a B. But to get started in this class, first you want to read the course syllabus to learn more about the class, and we'll go over that in a minute. Watch the Get Started recording. Well, that's what you're doing now. Complete the Getting Started write-up. I'll talk about those write-ups and how you get points. Complete the Introduce Yourself discussion. Complete the My Learning Plan assignment. Then I would like you to send me an email through Kmail. Tell me why you're taking this class, what you think you will learn, the grade you want to earn, and on a scale of 1 to 10. Rate yourself on what you already know about game design. Finally, make a folder on your desktop called Game Design. Then you'll put everything from this class in that folder. Better yet, and maybe your instructional advisors have already told you about this, but make a folder on your desktop called Insight 2013-14, then put your game design folder and other folders inside that to really help you stay organized. So that's the welcome to class and getting started. The other thing to look at is the schedule for work, and a lot of this stuff I already talked about. But this is how I post the work to be done each week, though. So the work to be done each week is posted in the announcements, and I list it for the week. So this is August 12th, which is Monday, through Friday, August 16th. Be great if you could get all the work done by Monday. Then you don't have anything to worry about for the weekend or the next week, right? You just move on with the next work. So again, you can see all the steps to do, and some of these things I just talked about in that Getting Started announcement. So that's for Tuesday. Then Thursday, you're going to go into the course overview unit, which is a really short unit, and that is right down here, course overview unit. You're going to go in and look at the section, actually it's sections A and B of that, and learn about the course. Then you're going to do the Class Connect write-up, and that's actually listed right up here too. And then you will do the CO unit quiz. So what I try to do for the first week is make things pretty quick and easy. I don't think any of this work, even watching this recording, all this stuff won't take you more than a couple of hours. So that's easy to do over the course of 4 or 5 days, I hope. Now the last thing I want to show you here is I have an announcement called Index of Lesson Recordings. And in this Index of Lesson Recordings, I will show you, I'll have links to all the recordings for the whole block. So for the week 1 recording, week 2 recording, week 3 recording, etc. So that's where you can go and find the recordings. And again, the recordings are to do the write-ups, and I'll talk about the write-ups shortly. So the best way to work in my class is always go to the announcements, because I have all the work for each of the week posted here. I have particular things like if 2 or 3 students have found an error in an assignment or something like that, then I post that in the announcements. So always come to the announcements for updates on what's going on in the class. And let's go ahead over here on the left and get started. So we'll look at the course syllabus. So in the course syllabus, of course, my email address, my phone number, and we're using the voice over IP phone, so internet phones. So you call this number to get any teacher or Insight person, and then my extension is 2010. Now you can learn a little about me. I've been teaching high school since 1989, taught in regular school, and I've taught online. When I was in regular school, I was a boys varsity basketball coach. I also coached boys and girls track, and I coordinated student clubs and different things like that. So I really enjoy working with students. I was a district technology director, also high school counselor for a year or so. And one of the other things I've done is I've trained teachers all around the world. I used to travel actually around the world, because I've gone to a couple of foreign countries and trained teachers on using technology. I've gone all over the country doing that. And technology is really one of the things that I enjoy, so that's why I'm a technology teacher. I live in Grand Junction with my wife and my son. He's a senior at Grand Junction High School. He's also a track athlete. He qualified for state in the long jump last year. I'm really proud of his accomplishments. And some of the things I enjoy, I like the outdoors. I go to the gym 5 or 6 days a week. I like to read. I also hold a master's in online teaching and learning. And I did that completely online back in 2001 and 2002. So I've been in your shoes as an online learner. And I also hold a K-12 principal license. And I did that all online, except for the in-school internship part. Finally, what I like about online teaching, you can see I like the flexibility. There's one thing I like, but I like doing something positive for students to help students succeed. I know many of you have maybe struggled in other schools, or you have different challenges in your life, and those are the types of students that I like to help. So I'm here to help you, and I'll do anything to help you pass this class, but you need to put in the effort. So I like the freedom and flexibility of teaching online, and I like that I can use new strategies and innovative approaches to help students. So I hope you will find that in the class. In this class, so this is going to look at the basic skills necessary for game design. You look at the gaming industry, analyzing different approaches to different types of games like first-person shooter games or sports games, those types of things. You're going to look at all of that. You're going to learn a little bit about the gaming market and how different companies are, how they impact the market. And then you'll end up creating a couple of games on your own, and they're not nearly the games that you're used to playing. It's going to be a really basic game that you're going to create, because you can imagine if you're going to create a game like Halo or some of these other games that you guys play, those things take millions of dollars to create, and they take people years to create with all the graphics. But you are going to end up creating a couple of basic games in this class. No prerequisites, 1 semester, no text required. Now we're going to use a program called Multimedia Fusion, but it's only a 30-day download, so don't download it yet. I'll let you know when you're going to download that, when you'll start using it. And for all of you, just basic computers, and most of you have that, at least a computer with at least those minimum requirements. Some of the objectives, you're going to explain the different types of games, understand how to use different elements of games, develop innovative game playing principles. You're going to kind of design a game in your mind and figure out the different components to go into that game. Express your ideas clearly in writing, and I'm going to be a stickler for that. Even though this is not an English class, I think students need to write well. So I'm not going to give you full credit for turning in junk writing. You're going to put some storytelling into the games that you design. Look at the requirements for visually appealing interfaces. Explore the use of sound. Interpret and apply data from game documents. And you're going to build a working prototype using Multimedia Fusion. The outline, so you'll see in Unit 1, you're going to look at the history of games, player elements, and different genres. Unit 2, you're going to look at all these different game elements. Unit 3, you're going to look at starting to create content for a game. And this is important to think about, because in Unit 3, you're going to start creating in your mind a real game that you might want to create. And this could be the craziest game ever. It could be, I don't know what popular games are now, but it could be like Doom 7 or something. Because what you're going to do, you're not going to end up creating that game, but you're going to do all the planning for that game as part of this class. Like you're going to write up the storyline for this outrageous game that you might want to have. You're going to create characters, define characters for this outrageous game. You're going to develop different components of this outrageous game, just the ideas on that, and you're going to learn about virtual reality for your game. Then you're going to look at the gameplay mechanics and the rules, and you're going to create levels for this fictional game that you might want to create someday. Then you're going to look at different features of the interface, platforms, genre interfaces. But the idea here is that in these two units, Unit 3 and Unit 4, you're going to be what's called storyboarding or planning a real game. It might be the craziest game ever. But that's not going to be the game that you really create to play. The game you really create to play, you're going to be doing down here in Unit 5 and Unit 6. So you'll see how all this works as we go along. Okay, the course is going to be based on 1,000 points. I do it that way so you can do easy math to figure out your grade. For example, in the end, let's say you have 782 points. That means it's 78.2%. Pretty easy to figure out, isn't it? Anytime you want to figure out what percentage you have, take the points you've earned so far. So let's say after this week you've earned 53 points, and the points possible at the end of this week is 60. You have 53 out of 60, so 53 divided by 60, and then figure out what their percentage is. I will generally offer no extra credit, because I feel that you earn the grade based on the required work in the class. But at times I might give you extra credit if you do outstanding work. So as we start doing some planning for the games and you really go above and beyond, you might get some bonus points for that. So that's how you can earn extra credit. So extra credit for extra effort. But I don't give extra credit for extra assignments that nobody else has a chance to do. To find out what your grade is, always go to the grade book. Don't ask me what your grade is. Always go to the grade book. And I may adjust some work as we go along, so the points may change, but your grade obviously will not go down if I make changes to the points, and will always stay with this point scale based on 1,000. Lastly, as we go here, quizzes and exams. There are lots of quizzes and exams. I do not let you retake quizzes and exams. What I do is I give you quiz and exam previews, and we'll see one of those in a minute. And I post those, so what you do is you go into the previews first. So the previews help you prepare for the quizzes and exams. So go to the previews, find the answers, then go in and do the exam. So do not ask to redo any quizzes or exams. That's fair warning. You need to follow that direction. Do the preview first. Class Connects. I use Class Connects differently from many teachers. Some teachers have you come into the Class Connect and they teach you about how to do the math problems for that week, or they go over Romeo and Juliet or whatever it is. Well, what I do is I post everything for the upcoming week as a recording, and then your job is to go watch that recording. Then in the Class Connects, you come in there and do work. So it'd be just like if you were in a regular school and you would go to one teacher where you'd watch the lecture or listen to the teacher talk about the work, and then you go into a classroom and then you would do all the work with the teacher helping you. So you watch those recordings, and I'll talk more about those as we get into more lesson recordings. But now in the live Class Connects, you can see the times down here, 12 to 1 and 8 to 9 on Tuesdays. So 12 o'clock, of course, is noon. So I'll be in there at Live Class Connects. You can come in, ask questions, and the way the Live Class Connects go, first couple minutes I'll talk about the work for the week. Then I'll answer any questions you have, and then we will all stay logged in, and you'll complete some of the work for the week. So isn't that great that the hour that you spend with me in the Class Connect is time that you can turn in work? So you're raising your grade. So that's how these work, and of course you're required to attend at least one Class Connect for each class each week. And these are going to be the same, so you don't have to come to each one. Just choose whichever one works out best for you. Now, when you have the Class Connects and you do what are called the recordings, the Class Connect write-ups, those are something we need to look at also. So the Class Connect write-ups are questions and answers on the recorded lesson. You get credit for that, because what I want to do is I want to guarantee that students go watch those recordings. And the only way I can guarantee you do that is if those recordings count points. So you'll go to the Class Connect write-up, you'll find the answers to the write-up as you watch the lesson recording, then you submit the text in the Dropbox. And I'll show you how the Class Connect write-ups work in a couple minutes. Finally, I already talked about this. I give you recordings for each week. They'll be available at the start of the week. I usually do the recordings on Saturday and Sunday before the week starts. And then so ideally Monday or Tuesday morning, you can watch the recordings. Then you'll be all ready to get work done when you come into the live session at either 12 to 1 on Tuesday or 8 to 9 on Tuesday evening. And the lesson recordings, they're used for two things. First, they give you the overview of the work for the week. Second, they give you the answers to the write-ups. So if you watch the lesson recordings, you'll be able to get 100% on the write-ups if you do them correctly. So that's the course syllabus. Okay, the Getting Started recording, well, that's what I'm doing right now. So you'll be able to watch this. Now the Getting Started write-up. These are the 10 questions that you will be able to answer and turn in for the write-up today. So you're watching this recording, and then you take these things, these 10 questions, you highlight them all, Control-C to copy, and paste into a word processor. The answers as you watch this recording, write your answers directly below the items, check your spelling, your grammar, then you copy and paste the questions as well as the answers in the correct Dropbox. Do not attach a file. So some of these we've already answered, like what time is weekly live Class Connect sessions? Well, they're from 12 to 1 on Tuesday and 8 to 9 p.m. on Tuesday. How are the weekly lesson recordings available to you? I just talked about that, didn't I? That was right at the bottom of the syllabus. They're helpful to you because they tell you what the content is going to be covered for that week, plus they give you the answers for the Class Connect write-ups. Number 5, what can you do to prepare yourself for quizzes and exams? Well, I already talked about that. You can look at the quiz and exam previews, right? Where do you find all the weekly lesson recordings? In the announcements. Mentioned that already. So we'll get all the answers to these. Okay, the work for this week. If you remember, I had the work scheduled. You have to do an introduce yourself discussion. Introduce yourself discussion. There are 7 questions. This is just so we get to know each other a little bit. So the way you do this, so you log in here if you want to respond to all these questions, you hit respond, and that'll give you a box down here. You put your name in the subject line, and then you answer the questions down below. I'm going to cancel that because I've already done it. So let's hit the plus sign next to mine, and you can see my answers. I'm Mr. Harrison, call me Mr. H. I live in Grand Junction, so the answer is number 1, doesn't it? Number 2, some of my hobbies, I enjoy reading, the outdoors, golf, technology, I go to the gym 5 or 6 days a week. So you can see all of my answers, and in all of my answers, these are complete sentences that directly answer the questions. So for number 6, don't just put chocolate. Put a complete sentence, please. So we're trying to build some writing skills, some communication skills. So you can read about me there. Now what you want to do, once you've read about me or your classmates, then you click respond down below and you can respond to that person. So I'd encourage you to respond to 2 or 3 classmates. So to respond to a person, you hit the word respond below their entry. To make your own original response, you hit respond right here to make your own original post. So that's the introduce yourself discussion, so please do that. My learning plan. My learning plan is worth 20 points, that's 2% of your grade. So that could be the difference between an A and a B, 2%. No real right or wrong answers, but you're going to be graded on the completeness of your answers. And this can help me help you in the class. So this one, if you look at it, the different steps, copy and paste all these into word processor. So you'll go down here, you'll copy the whole thing, hit Control C, paste into a word processor. Then answer each of them in the word processor. On some, you just delete the items that are not your answer. On others, you type in the answer. So if I had this in a word processor, and if I'm going to do the work faster than schedule, in the word processor, I would highlight these and I hit delete, and that just leaves faster than scheduled as my answer. Same thing with number 2, just delete the ones that are not your answer. Same with number 3. Number 4, you're going to type some things out. Then number 4, if you look at this, explain what you will do to make sure you earn the grade you want. 3 or 4 specific things. Don't just put, I will turn in work, because that could be lousy work, couldn't it? And don't just put, I will go to class connects. I mean, that could be one item, but how can you earn the grade you want? Well, by checking over your work before you submit it, by creating a work schedule and sticking to it, like you're going to do the work for this class every Tuesday from noon until 3. So creating a work schedule. Asking questions of the instructor if needed. Watching the Class Connect recordings is another way that you can earn the grade that you want. Attending the live Class Connects are another way. So I want you to be specific, 3 or 4 specific things. Okay, there will be weekly live Class Connects, how you use them to help you. You'll attend each week if it's available when I have time. Only attend if you have questions. Well, really, this top one should be your answer because Insider is requiring everybody to attend the Class Connects this year, so please do that. What are some things you'll do if you do not understand an assignment? Well, think about this. What are some things? Well, you could email me, but that wouldn't be the first thing to do. Probably the first thing to do would be to reread the assignment. Second thing to do would be to look at the Class Connect recording in which I talk about the assignment. Third thing to do is you might have your parent or an older brother or sister read the assignment to you, or you read it to them to make sure you're understanding everything. Then you could shoot me an email. But don't just shoot me an email saying you don't understand if you haven't tried to understand. So try it on your own first. Finally, number 7, what background knowledge or interest do you have that will help you succeed in this course? So that's just going to be your own words. So that's the Class Connect write-up, or the My Learning Plan assignment. And again, My Learning Plan is worth 50 points. Or not 50 points, 20 points. My Learning Plan is worth 20 points. All right, the course schedule. Course schedule is in the doc sharing area, so you can go to the doc sharing area, look at the course schedule. That's the schedule as of a couple of days ago. It may change as we go along depending on how things are going in the class. Class Connect, I already talked about Class Connects. So I do them differently. We have the live Class Connects, so there's all the information there, and then I have the recorded Class Connects for the Class Connect write-ups. Grading information, talked about that. This was in the syllabus, so don't need to go over this again, but you can see how the grades are broken down. Of course, an A would be 89.5%, a B would be 79.5 to 89.4%, etc. Communications, really important in an online class. Announcements, the best way to keep current on what's going on in the class. If you ever have a question about an assignment, go to the announcements first, because if it's like a class-wide issue, like I mentioned before, that 3 or 4 students said, hey, the directions for this assignment are wrong, then I'll post that in the announcements rather than you just emailing me out of the blue. So always go to the announcements first. Sending K-mail. K-mail is the best way to keep in touch with me, but you have to do it specifically, do it correctly. So first thing, in the subject line of the K-mail, put your course name, so you'll put Game Design. and the topic of your email. The reason you have to put the course name in is because Kmail doesn't tell us what course you're in. It only tells me your name. And early on, I don't remember what courses kids are in. So this would be the perfect example of what you'd put in the subject line if you're having questions with the character development assignment. There's the perfect example right there. The other thing about Kmail, if it's a new topic, please give a new Kmail or revise the subject line. Do not reply to an old Kmail with the old subject line. As an example, I'll send out an announcement that says welcome to class or a Kmail, and maybe 3 weeks from now you have a question on an assignment. Don't reply to that one and say, hey, I have a question on assignment number 7 without changing the subject line. That's really confusing. Best thing is, if it's a new topic, just write a new Kmail, please. Then finally, in the Kmail, please be specific. What do you need? Exactly what do you need. Don't just say, help me on the character development assignment. Say, on the character development assignment, I don't understand what it means by powers that a character has. If you're specific, then I can answer you immediately, probably the correct answer, and save us lots of time. Phone calls, you need to talk to me on the phone. It's best to schedule ahead of time. And of course, here's the extension, and I'll be willing to talk to you anytime, day or night. I get up at 5 in the morning. I'm available phone calls in the evenings too, so anytime you want to talk, fine, but let's schedule ahead of time, then I can set aside the right amount of time for you. Now, Class Connects, I have what's called an immediate and ongoing Class Connect session for immediate help. All you do is click Immediate Class Connect, and then we can meet in that room, and I'll share that with you in a minute. R. Harrison Teach on Skype, and then Live Messenger. I need to learn to keep that on while I'm online, so I'll try to do better at that. Teacher contact information, so you can see everything you need to know to contact me. Immediate Class Connect. Now, if you're familiar with the way Class Connects work, teachers only set them up on the hour or the half hour. Well, what if you have a problem that you need answered right now? I have this immediate ongoing session. So on this, so what you would do is you'd call me or you'd email me and say, hey, I need help on this assignment tonight. Can we do an immediate Class Connect? Or this afternoon. And I'll say, yeah, what time's good for you? And you say, well, how about 2:15? So then I'll say, okay, I'll meet you in the immediate Class Connect at 2:15. So that I log in, and all you do is you go right here to Immediate Class Connect at 2:15, click right there, and that'll get you right into it, and I'll be in there waiting for you. So this is almost like if we were in a regular school. This would be almost like if you said, hey, Mr. H, can I meet you in the classroom at 2:15 today? Then we both meet in there. So this is called the Immediate Class Connect, and that's an always-on session. We can meet in there anytime you need it. But we need to set it up ahead of time, because I just don't sit in there waiting for kids to show up. You need to set it up ahead of time. All right, academic integrity. I'm sure you've read these for other classes, so make sure you read all that stuff. Now this says, assessments is closed book. My assessments aren't closed book. My tests and quizzes, exams, they're not closed book. I can even give you the previews, don't I? So don't worry about any of that. High school orientation. Really, you can look at the study skills section and success sessions, but look at everything else, but study skills and the success sessions can help you quite a bit. Course help. Don't worry about this. This isn't specific for this course. This is all about K-12. You want to take a look at it, but it really won't help you for this class. Now, a couple of other things to look at. I'm going over to the course overview unit, and you'll see that the recording for course overview unit I'll put in here. The write-up I'll put in here. Actually, here's the write-up already. And the sections. The unit quiz preview. There's the unit quiz preview. Look at that. So all you'll do to get ready for that quiz is you just figure out what these answers are. Once you know those answers, then you go into the quiz and you take the quiz. So real easy for you. Try to be really helpful for you. Last thing, and something that I want to make clear, the Class Connect write-ups. The Class Connect write-ups are always done in the Dropbox, so you copy and paste in the Dropbox. Do not attach a file on the Class Connect write-ups. But on the learning plan, that's going to be done via Kmail, or actually in Dropbox, with this exact file name. So when you do this learning plan, we talked about this before, you copy and paste this into word processor, you do it all, save it as Game Design My Learning Plan. That's the exact name to save that file as. You get 5 points off if you do not use the right file name. The reason I do this is because in technology, using exact file names is really important. So when you do this learning plan, this is the exact name you'll save it as, and then you attach that as a file in the Dropbox. So learning plan is attached in the Dropbox, whereas the write-ups are just text copied into the Dropbox. So that's the difference. All right, let's go to the, here we are on the write-up. Let's see if we've answered these. How many points is my learning plan worth? Well, do you remember that? You can go right here to learning plan and it'll tell you how many points that's worth. Give me the exact subject line. You send me a Kmail if you need to clarify assignment 3. Remember what you need to have in the subject line of a Kmail. Let's go down here to communications. And if I look at this, this tells me exactly what needs to be in the subject line of a Kmail. So I want exactly what you would put in the subject line of the Kmail if you needed me to clarify assignment 3. Time of weekly live class connects, we talked about that already. How are the weekly lesson recordings helpful for you? We talked about that, but you can find this information in the syllabus. Preparing yourself for quizzes and exams, talked about that. Use the quiz and exam previews. All the weekly lesson recordings, well, those are right here in the announcements. They're not in the course home area, they're in the announcements. Index of lesson recordings in the announcements. How can you see the feedback a teacher gives you? Best way to see it is go to the grade book and click on the assignment. Where do you find the work to be done each week? In the announcements, right? So if I go to course home, in the announcements, there's the work to be done each week in the announcements. Where can you go in the course to meet for an immediate help session? Right over here, Immediate Class Connect. And finally, what's the lowest total number of points to pass the class? Well, if we go back to grading, check this out. What's the lowest number of points right here? To me, it would be 595, 59.5%, you would pass the class. So that's all the answers this Getting Started Write-Up. So you've watched this recording, you found all the answers, and I've introduced you to everything you need to know about how this course works. So if I go back up here, week 1, we've covered, you'll do all this stuff hopefully by Tuesday, Wednesday, and then you'll do all this stuff by Thursday, Friday, and you'll be all caught up, doing well. So that's all I have for you. Nothing else to really look at. Of course, you know, the Dropbox is up here at the top. Doc sharing area, that's where you can go get there's the course schedule. Gradebook, of course, easy to go in to see that. So you are on your way to being successful in this class. Look forward to working with you all. Bye.